for presenting me with this. I wouldn't be nothing if it wasn't for y'all and this brother right here who listens to my words and look at my videos and get something out of it. Otherwise, I just look like somebody just crazy up in the corner talking to himself, you know? So I definitely appreciate this right here. I can fill it up. Fill it up from end to end. Keep him right here. He gonna rock with us.
All right, we got one more presentation. We got the young folks back there. I need the young Africans to come up here.
No, y'all go up there.
Come on up here. Up here. Come on, make some noise for our youth. Now these voices in the room, I want y'all to kick in here. First up, people, what's your name?
Micaiah.
Micaiah, how old are you?
7.
7. What's your name?
Jalen.
Jalen, how old are you?
10.
10. Boy, I thought you was 50 walking up there. Yeah, look at it. What y'all want to do when y'all grow up?
I want to be a hairstylist.
Hairstylist, that's right.
YouTuber.
YouTuber? That's what I'm talking about. Give it up for our
I know he got to work hard.
Other ways to make money nowadays. Ain't gonna be no shortage of hair.
Y'all want that? Y'all good?
Yeah.
What y'all say when somebody do that?
Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Thank you. So the last thing I'm going to say is becomes my honor and privilege. I watched my brother sojourn on this healing battlefield for a very long time. So he brings a dynamic approach to healing and an even greater dynamic approach to decoding. So in order to understand how to truly become unbreakable, there's no way we could be discussing this without it. You see what I'm saying? There's always people, we have our greats that we esteem and that we cheat. But there's always, like the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, I left cubs in the bush. We got to shout the cubs out. We got to shout the cubs out. This is the path of the warrior. This is a warrior healer in our midst who's going to give us those applications and those tools to take us from this broken state, shattered like glass, and reform us and reshape us and allow us to remember that blood and how to protect that blood and give us everlasting life in the truest. So without any further ado, my brother, warrior comrade, KT, the arts degree. Let's show him some love.
Is this just for the camera, or is this, because it's still going to pick me up, right? Y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna hold off on the mic. So I can just talk to you. Here we go. What's up, man? How y'all doing? All right. Now, before we get started, have you seen any of these movies? Have you seen Unbreakable? Have you seen Split? Oh, she look like she split her decision. Wait a minute now, you do a left. It's a curveball right there.
I heard Unbreakable, but I didn't hear Split.
See, here we go. This ain't Glass.
That's the new one.
Okay. All right, so Unbreakable was the first one 20 years ago. Whole generation. Split was the sequel that came out 5 years ago.
2008. 2008.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
All right, and then Glass just came out. All right, cool. Want to make sure we all on the same page. So yeah, I deal with Hollywood Decoded. All right, and then I also deal with Green Light Botanicals, and Hollywood Decoded deals with my more metaphysical side. You know, because you got some people who aren't by the book. They're very spiritual. They're very open-minded. They want to know what lies underneath, you know? So that's what my Hollywood Decoded is for. All right, so I can break movies down. I can really go off the planet. And then Green Light Botanicals is more study-oriented, research papers, physiology, body health, this is what it is, facts. People are like, okay, man, what you talk? Prove it to me, and then I can just page 39, paragraph 40, you know. So I deal with both sides, and you know, some of the people who follow me, they deal with both sides. Some people gravitate more towards the movies, some gravitate more towards the health, you know. But today, we're in a situation where, just like with anything else, I kind of foreseen how things cross over, and we're in a place now where health and movies are kind of, because What the Health came out and then everybody turned vegan. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce and Jay-Z said, hey, everybody to be vegan this year. They listen. You know, so there's some type of entertainment crossover into health now where it's like, okay, when I started this years ago, it looked like I was crazy.
Right.
But now it's starting to make a little bit of sense. Okay? All right, so Glass. Yo. All right, so M. Night Shyamalan. Peep how his actual story mirrors the movie. First off, before we go into anything, glass is a mirror before it shatters. Okay? It's a mirror. Because if you walk by a window, you can see yourself. You can see everything behind you. A mirror is a little bit more on point, but glass is a mirror, and it's a mirror for the director himself. Because when he came out with Sixth Sense and Signs, he was a beast. Everybody was like, yo, he fooling. Right? Then he came out with The Happening, After Earth, which I loved Happening. Happening said that the trees and nature will have you kill yourself. They throwing out spores and people just start losing all their sensibility. I was like, that's deep. That's the herb information right there. People didn't get it. It was too deep. After Earth came, that was deep with Will and Jaden. That people fell asleep on that one too. They didn't get it. You know, he lost me with the Airbender, because I love the last Airbender cartoon, and then they did the movie. He just trashed it. And he started doubting himself the same way that these heroes doubt themselves in Glass. Right? Then he kind of started coming back, you know. So his actual career mirrors this, and that's what I love to convey to the people of how these movies are just like our existence. We live in a holographic reality. We deal with a projection. We deal with a film. We deal with a dark room where there's a picture that we got to analyze. This is our life. And there's studies called neurocinematics, where they study the influence of film on your brain as you watch it. So if you watching Saving Private Ryan, your brain reacting like you at war. If you watching Forrest Gump, you actually think life is like a box of chocolates. You know what I'm saying? We enter into this world because when we wake up, because just living our life is actually a death culture. We wake up in the morning. We wake in the morning. You know what I'm saying? It's all death. When we get up, there's a role we have to play. And it's the same thing with these films. You know, everybody got their place. So if you look at all of these fragments of this glass, they got pretty much pictures going all the way back to Unbreakable up to the Glass point. And in a sense, they're kind of giving you a little bit of insight on what really these movies were about. And the movies were about superheroes and the fact that superheroes are real, and that the only way that a superhero will not be able to be who he is if he believes that he doesn't have that power. So he was playing Heru Anuk. Heru Anuk, I am Heru. I am the one who is above. I am the sun. I am the Avenger. That's why all these years of me breaking down all these Avengers films, I've always talked about the Heru energy in there. Because you can't have the word superhero without hero. You can't have hero without Heru. The archetype of the hero is based on the story of Heru out of Kimberly. As simple as that. So now we're dealing with us being heroes, and what makes us a hero is our connection in our body with the world above and the world below. And we do this with our mind, and we do this with our hormones. So when you're looking at the movie Unbreakable, when you're looking at the movie Split, when you're looking at the movie Glass, what you're looking at is a personification of glands in the brain and the hormones that they secrete and their effects on the body. Just that simple. But it's real, like, it's real flat because he doesn't want it to be too magnificent. If you notice, he was leading everybody on in Glass when he was like the Osaka Tower. The big showdown's gonna go down at the Osaka Tower. What did they call the Osaka Tower? They called it a true marvel, like Marvel Comics. So you thinking they about to have this big Marvel CGI battle? No, it took place right in the parking lot. It was like, this is a real story, bruh. You know what I mean? Ain't underwear over tights and pleather boots, okay? We about to get to it. So if you look at this screen right here, we got hypothalamus, we got the pineal gland, we got the pituitary gland, and there's a list of the hormones that they secrete. So the hypothalamus, hypo means below, thalamus is another part of the brain, so it means below the thalamus. And it has networks that branch into the pituitary gland, so the pituitary gland can then secrete something. Then you have the pineal gland. We all know about the third eye. We'll get more in detail of that. And then we got the thyroid gland that deals with our metabolism. Now, the hypothalamus, if you notice, a lot of those hormones, it's called releasing hormone, releasing hormone, releasing hormone, because what these hormones do in the hypothalamus is they tell the pituitary what needs to be secreted, what needs to be made. The pituitary takes that information and it does it. All right? We're going to get more and more into the body as we go along. All right. Now, when we talk about Heru and we talk about Set, what is that the battle of? It's just circadian rhythm. Don't hate on Set. Because the sun set every day. The sun don't got no problem with Set. It's consistent. We want to give all our praise to the rise, but not to the set. If there wasn't a set, it would never rise. So we got circadian rhythm, which is the rhythm of night and day. Because during the day, what do we do during the day?
Work.
Move around and we work. What do we do at night?
Sleep.
Exactly. And if we working or doing anything other than that, the only thing on our mind is, man, I can't wait to get home so I can go to sleep. You know? Because that's where the real work starts, within. What happens during the day is our eyes, which was so venerated in Kemet, like eye Ra, eye Heru, left eye taken out, eye put back in. You know what I'm saying? It was eye this, eye that, all seeing eye, third eye. The eye is a perfect black box radiator, which is like a black hole where no light escapes. So all this, everything we see doesn't look nothing like this. It only does in our head. It's almost like if I wrote some Spanish, something in Spanish, you only know maybe 3 or 4 words, you know a little Latin, so you do your best to try and figure out what's being said, so you translate it, and you like, okay, KT had to go to the store, he had to get some juice, came back home, he watched Game of Thrones, and he fell asleep. Yeah, that's what it say. But then when you actually get someone who speaks Spanish and they translate it, oh, there's so much more stuff up in there that you skip. So that's what happens with the things that we see. There's things that shoot right by us, but we're not trained to understand those frequencies, so we just make sense of it. Like, that might not be a chair. That might be something else. But you just know it as a chair, so that's what you're going to see. So during the day, we're soaking in all this light. Because at nighttime, there's no light. It's not that it's darkness, so to speak, at nighttime. What it really is there's a lack of color. Because if I walk to a body of water at nighttime, that water's black, gray. but during the day, it's blue. If I whip out a flashlight and shine it in the corner, all of a sudden the chair's yellow, the table's brown, but if I turn the flashlight off, it's either black, white, or gray. So at nighttime, when we sleeping, all the light that we collected during the day is used to regenerate our body at nighttime. All the while we deal with deep, inherent psychological issues that are formulated in an augmented reality that we walk through so we can discover ourselves and overcome things. Where do you think that picture come from you see when you're dreaming? That's the light from the day. That's Heru still battling Set as you lay down. So circadian rhythm ain't nothing more than Heru and Set battling. So that means that during the day, you need to get as much Heru as you can, and during nighttime, you got to get as much Set as you can. If you're getting a bunch of Heru at night, you ain't going to get no rest. And that's our problem with health these days. See, when the great elder was speaking in the 80s and the 90s, I can honestly say, because I remember being in 5th grade when my teacher told me, hey, guess what's coming next year? What's coming next year, teacher? The World Wide Web. Spider-Man? Like, what you talking about? We didn't know what that was. Oh, you going to be able to talk? Do you know how we do pen pals? Imagine you could pen pal somebody instantly. It was just like, all right, can we get on to what we talking about today? Because it didn't click. And then slowly but surely, internet made its debut. Now it's a way of life. But in order for you to have internet, in order for you to have a phone and all that stuff, you got to have Wi-Fi. You got to have blue light toxicity coming out of the screens. We're living in a microwave world that didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. And we have to take account of that effect outside of the food. Right. So we used to be scared of getting locked up and get thrown in a physical prison. Well, we're voluntarily putting ourselves in light prisons. Phil Valentine used to refer to it back in the day as light code lockdown. Where you can't even be creative because that blue light is neutralizing melanopsin in your eyes. You don't even know it. You can't even build up the dopamine to have a thought, to be creative. You start looking at your girl a certain way, just making up stuff in your head while you don't like about her, pick a fight. You know what I'm saying? All these things start having your character starts to fall apart. All because of light. Oh, so this is why Heru is everywhere, I guess, huh? Because this is why they federated the sun and it had little hands with arms coming out of it. We thought it was cute when we was, oh, look at little hands with the onks. Oh, man. No, they're saying that the sun gives divine life in the form of light to you, if you're willing to receive it. But if you're covered in the coolest gear and the rubber sneakers, and this is blocked off, and this is blocked off, and you outside of the tropical zone in a vitamin D winter, man, you can't expect your body to do anything your ancestors were doing because they was half butt naked in the sun, walking barefoot. No windows. You see them temples? There's big old spaces for the sun to come in. Were they afraid anybody was going to come in at night? No, because if they did, they had the right to grab the obsidian blade and send your head rolling somewhere. He stepped in my premises. And everybody know because it's 3 in the morning, bro, what was you doing walking in dude's window at 3? You should be asleep, you know? So this is a chart showing circadian rhythm. I know it's a lot of stuff going on here, so just to kind of break it down, you got the light visible spectrum up there, the visible spectrum and color. This is the way you need to understand color. Color is nothing more than a visual identification of a frequency. Because if we use a walkie-talkie, you can't see the waves going back and forth. But you could see a red flashlight or a blue flashlight or a green flashlight, and all that is a particular frequency on the electromagnetic spectrum that happens to be in this little small narrow field where you can actually see it with your eyes. So when the sun rises, the sun is full of color. It's predominantly red and blue. I didn't make that up. It just happens to be red and blue. And the red and blue dominant colors come in and they start turning on parts of your brain. Turns on your pineal gland, turns on your suprachiasmatic nucleus, your PVN, all these little centers in your brain, they start working. Why? Because the light came in. If there was no light stimulation, then it ain't gonna start working. So what happens when I get up at noon? Oh, they rushing. Oh, snap. Spilling coffee on themselves. Donuts is falling down the steps. Because they trying to open up the business. Because they late. Because you got up late. We're supposed to get up with the sun every day and salute it. And it'll salute us by programming our body to be prepared for the rest of the day. And that's why we're usually chasing our tails. Because we missed that window. And we're just trying to catch up. And before we know it, we're like, dang, man, it's like 9 o'clock. Where did day go? You never started your day, technically. All right? So the blue light, you see the blue light coming in right here. Blue light's not bad. Blue light's bad coming off these screens. Facebook, Instagram, Google, they all have patents on a wavelength of blue light that they specifically use on all their programs to desensitize you and have you turn into just an online shopper or as somebody who's easily suggested. Now this sounds like conspiracy theory, so I just challenge you, y'all go Google and the patent is online and they don't deny it either. They don't deny it. You see it. Look at the youth. I mean, I was shocked and amazed. They didn't have no phone in their hand when they walked up here. Because that thing is, we're like cyborgs now. It's attached to the hip. It's part of our society. I gotta, hold on, wait a minute, where's my, you know what I mean? You lose your mind. Pink, yellow, green, purple, all of those is part of the color spectrum. Now, when we look inside of our eyes, we have a retina. The retinas have rods and cones. The rods is black and white in your peripheral vision, and the cones is for your color. But the color is only blue, green, and red. That's it. Why? Because they're primary colors, and no matter how you mix them, you can create any other color out of it the same way. If you go to the store and I say, yo, I need some printer ink, are you going to find a color printer ink, or is it going to be CMYK? It's going to be a pack of red, blue, yeah, you put that in the printer and they mix them and then you can make any color you want out of it. Your eyes are the same way. The pixels on a television screen, same way. Alright? So this is a picture of the pineal gland. Alright? The reason why I'm starting with the pineal gland is because we're talking about becoming unbreakable in 2019. Talking about a trilogy of Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. It starts with Unbreakable. Unbreakable was about who? Bruce Willis' character, David Dunn, aka the Overseer. These three characters represented these glands of the body. He was the pineal. Okay, Elijah Price, aka Mr. Glass, was the pituitary. And your boy with all the personalities was the hypothalamus, because the hypothalamus got all these different things it got to do. 1 minute it's hot, next minute it's cold, the next minute it's nourishing you, the next minute is whipping your behind. This is what the hypothalamus doing. All his personalities represented the different nuclei that's in your hypothalamus. And then it was genetic, because it was 23 personalities. That's how many chromosomes it takes in order for a woman to give up for a child and a man to give up for a child to make 46. So it's 23 and 23 make 46. He had 23 personalities, which gave birth to the beast, 666. You know? I'm jumping ahead. But pituitary gland, this is what it looked like. I don't know if y'all ever seen an actual picture of a pineal gland, but this is it right here. Okay? And this one is kind of light because of the light being on right here, right now. So I can read it off the screen. I can make it bigger. So the two stalks right there, right? Those are the superior root and the inferior root. All right. and then you have the main stalk, the body and the apex. Apex at the top, just like at the top of a pyramid. Body, stalk, right? And then upper and lower roots. Okay? This pineal gland sits right at like a shore. You know, you stand on the shore of a beach and the water, the tide comes in. It sits at the shore of your, the 4 ventricles of your brain. You got 2 lateral ventricles, a 3rd ventricle, and a 4th ventricle. It's shaped like a ram. That's why rams was a Kemet so deep, because you have a fluid system that feeds your brain, and the fluid system, the ventricles, the 4 ventricles, you can Google them on your phone right now, 4 ventricles of the brain. It looks like a ram. It has 2 horns, it has a pointy face, and it has a neck. And it sits in your head. And this pineal gland sits right at the bank of one of the openings of it, so that it can be able to connect with that water. All right? And I'm going to get into why, you know, he had his allergy to the water, why he had a problem with water so much. So the pineal gland, what do we know the pineal gland as? 3rd eye, right? What was one of his powers? He bumped into somebody, and he know you were doing wrong, or you were doing evil. If you was really evil, he would get a real strong hit. You know, if you just stole a Snicker bar out the store, then, you know, it wouldn't be so bad. But that ESP, that clairvoyance and all of that, that has to deal with what? The all-seeing eye. You got 2 eyes that see all this, but then you got this inner eye that don't miss nothing because it's based on vibration. His was based on vibration because someone would have to run into him, and he would have to feel their vibe. And then the pineal gland being so strong, it was able to pick up those subtleties and then do what? Create an augmented reality in his head that put him right there where he needed to be. That's how he knew that family got abducted, and then he went after them. All right, so this is the scene out of Glass where you got the tank outside of the asylum, and then when it busts, because him and Kevin, the beast, was fighting inside of the tank, and it busted, and then the water busted out, but then they did a close-up of the ground showing the water spilling out, falling into this puddle, because this is the puddle where he died at. And it's like, yo, how you this strong? How you got all this power? You allergic to water? What's going on? And they gave the story. They was like, oh, I swallowed a little bit more water when I was a little kid. You know what I'm saying? Da-da-da-da. But let me tell you this. I don't know if everybody ain't noticed this, but this is something I noticed. He never had a problem with natural sources of water. Like, he didn't choke drinking water. You never saw him in a river, a pond, a lake, the sea, an ocean. It was a pool. This puddle was formed because that broke. So what are they really saying? Is it really water he has a problem with, or is it certain states of water that really hurt him? Like fluoride being in the water. Because if you're dealing with pool water, you're talking about chlorine. You're talking about all types of chemicals. Now, you know if they filled this tank up specifically for him, because this is what he was getting sprayed with in his room, you know they treated that water. That was not no fresh Icelandic glacier water. You know what I'm saying, from the Arctic? So, we know that fluoride is bad for us. They still try to push it like it's something good, but we know they used them in the Holocaust. We know there used to be rat poison at one point in time. And these are all the side effects: cancer, brain damage in unborn fetus, bone weakness, dental fluorosis, low estrogen and testosterone levels, damages stomach, joint problems, skeletal fluorosis, osteoarthritis and accelerates osteoporosis, lowers IQ, memory loss, on and on and on and on. So, we talking about a calcified pineal gland. Now, This is why his power, this is why he would lose all his power, because he is the pineal gland. So if you fluoridate a pineal gland, that's how you calcify it. You don't calcify a pineal gland with calcium. That's something that we got kind of confused. We hear calcified pineal, we're like, oh man, I thought calcium was good, but I'm calcifying my pineal. No, fluoride calcifies your pineal. Because your pineal is made of calcium. You even know your pineal gland was like a bone, because it's filled with calcite. Hold on. Uno momento. Got my little box of tricks over here. But this is called Icelandic spar. Icelandic spar. This is called a birefringent crystal. Why is it called birefringent? Because I'm going to show, let's see. Alright, so you could read that very easily, right? All those words. You don't have to read it out loud, but you can read what's on the paper, right? Alright, now when I put the crystal on there, what happens to the words?
I can still see it, like it doubles.
It doubles. Thank you. That's all I was looking for. Alright, so if I shine a light through this crystal that your pineal gland is made of, these crystals right here, it's kind of dark in here so you can't really see the light, but this is a UV flashlight. You shine a light through this crystal, what ends up happening is this beam of light gets split into time. It turns this beam of light into two realities. One light goes one way, then the other light goes another way. Birefringence, meaning birefraction. It's splitting the light beam, but not in half. Like two of me, like another KT's over there, and we both breaking the movie down. Like, good, I can sit down for a second, you go. You know? So we have, our pineal gland is filled with these calcite crystals with certain geometrical shapes, and because of the other property that calcite got, if I shoot this UV at this for the next like maybe minute and we hit the lights, it's going to glow on its own based on the stimulus of the UV light. So UV light makes our calcite glow. Calcite's in our pineal, and the pineal got something to do with third eye and inner vision. Now you see where the light comes from. Now you see how pictures can be made because of the crystal. Now we know how information can be stored because of this calcium carbonate. Because that's what the chemical makeup is carbon and calcium. Calcium carbonate. So when you consume too much fluoride, the fluoride causes that calcium to start aggregating together. And then you have something called calcification of the pineal. And do you know what calcification of the pineal will do to you? The brother was just up here a second ago. We stood in a circle. There was something he asked of us to do that a lot of us take for granted. What you asked us to do what when we got in the circle?
Envision, picture.
Picture and envision. That's a power. And there's a disorder that exists, I'm sorry I don't recall the name at this time, where there's people who have no insight. They can't visualize. You could say, imagine a blue dog running across the street. They can't do it. Imagine a bunch of grapes. They don't see it in their head. You can do that because you have a mind. That's what I'm saying. It's like, imagine Superman being mad and grateful about the power he, like, yeah, I could fly, so, like, I could shoot lasers out my, what am I going to do, like, I'm just going to cook my food with my eyes every day, like, who cares? That's what we on. We got wings, superpowers, strength, all this stuff. We don't impart it, we don't use it, we just sit in a circle crying about our problems. In 2019. Whatever problem we have in 2019 is self-inflicted because we no longer in a state where we don't have the ability and the resources to do exactly what we need to do. We're still waiting on something. Something to come floating down from the heavens, like, just like that. That what we're waiting on. With nice little glow over their head. We waiting on that. Not knowing that cat in you. Just waiting. So it's not the calcium, it's the fluoride. So how do you defluoridate? How do you defluoridate? How do you get rid of the fluoride out your pineal gland? Tamarind. Tamarind. Anybody ever heard of tamarind before? T-A-M-A-R-I-N-D? Tamarind. Tamarind tree. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
the fruit,
yeah, okay,
you know
yeah,
tamarind.
okay.
Tamarind removes fluoride from the body. Just eat more tamarind. Or get more samosas from the Indians, because they got their little tamarind sauce that come with it, right? Wow. Alright, so in the movie, do y'all remember Daryl? The guy who worked in the hospital, in the mental hospital? He was like lollygagging. Did you notice the conversation he was having? I wish I had the clip. The whole conversation was on health. He was like, yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? You gotta eat them plants, man. Plants is where you get all the energy from. He was dropping it. He was like, yo, you know about vitamin D? Vitamin D? Yeah, most people think they got all types of diseases. They just missing vitamin D. That's it. We ain't getting in the sun no more. It's a white guy saying that. And then his name is David. His first name Adam. I'm just saying. Oh, he got his throat sliced though. You know what I'm saying? Your boy took him out the game real quick, but he was dropping it. Go back and watch that scene when he was clocking into work, and he was just sitting there talking because Mr. Glass was like, he was banking on that. He was like, yeah, he usually spends a lot of time clocking in and talking, and I knew I had this window. But the conversation that he's speaking, like, M. Night Shyamalan is giving everybody the necessary components to be the superhero. Or doubt the hero. However you want to do it. You know, you can either be with the three-leaf clover society or whatever. Alright, so I'm about to skip that. Vitamin D. How Will Smith do it? How's the hygiene? That's the boy right there. Y'all get it? That's the boy. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The sun has the ability to become a chemical in your body, and the chemical is called vitamin D. Vitamin D is the sun as a chemical in your body. You know how you know? Because you get it by going in the sun. Right at the base of your skin, you have something called 7-dehydrocholesterol sitting right in the fat underneath your skin. And the sulfur in the air becomes sulfate, and then at the same time the sunlight hitting that 7-hydrocholesterol converts it into vitamin D, sulfated vitamin D. It's a difference. That's why you got this little red thing on the bottom right here. That's supposed to be the sulfur down there. But sulfated vitamin D is everything. Vitamin D receptors in the body is everything. People that are having issues and problems, if they go into the doctor will show them how the level of their receptors have dropped. They haven't gotten any vitamin D. How many of y'all are spending anywhere between 5 to 9 hours outside during the day? You know, back in the day. We're supposed to spend ample amount of time in the sun. Our body, our skin is a solar panel. And what do we know about solar panels? You put a solar panel on a curved roof? Do you put it on a curved roof? You put it on a pointy roof? What do you usually put solar panels on? Flat. Just like your chest and your abs and your behind and your legs. These are surfaces that are supposed to, oh my God. Huh. Then when you lay flat on the ground, the efficiency of how much sun you get increases exponentially. But we don't do it because we're too fresh, too clean. We gangster now. I got Nikes, I got Timberlands, and I got Pradas. I don't need no sun. I got lights. I got electricity bills. I can just turn on the sun. What I need that sun for? I'm not eating none of them fruits. I'm not eating none of them vegetables that the bees is pollinating and that's using photosynthesis to grow. I don't need that sun. I just need that light and that light. That's how we're acting. It sounds ludicrous me saying it to you right now, but these are our actions. Actions speak way louder than words because our body don't use words to speak to us. It uses pain, discomfort. That's how you know when you limping. It don't have to say your ankle is sprained. Ankle is sprained. Please tend to ankle. No, you know it because you can't walk. That's your body talking to you. So we have to be able to communicate and listen to our body a lot more. I remember when Dr. Sabi first met my mother in the rainforest in St. Croix, she was still pregnant with me. After the lecture, because they were middle of the rainforest inside of a mobile home. They got done, everybody leaves. He walks up to my mother, looks into her eye, like, you know, you pull your eye down and you can see all that. Pull that down and look there. Grabbed her foot and pulled it up. Smacked the hell out of her foot. And she was like, "You're anemic." She was like, "What? What do you mean? What are you talking about?" He was like, "You need more iron. You don't have enough iron in you," by looking at the flesh under the eye and slapping the foot. Now, it makes sense slapping on the foot, right? Because if you slap on the foot, what's supposed to happen? If I took your foot right now and I just...
Supposed to get red. Supposed to be blood flow red.
Blood flow red. If it's yellow, what that mean?
Meaning blood flows to there.
Simple. Communication. You see? So like I said, your boy is the hypothalamus. Okay? These are all the nuclei. The MB, the PN, the LT, the PV, the AH, the SO, the SC, the TC. These are all initials of long names of nuclei. But you see how they're all, some are big, some are small. Some are more important than others. That's why he had the horde, which was the main group of maybe 7 personalities that always stayed in the what? Whoever was the one.
In the light.
Say that again?
In the light.
In the light. If a personality wanted to be front and center and take over the body, they had to be the one in the light. And what did they use to change the personalities, brother in glass? What did they use? How did they flip from one personality to another inside the insane asylum? What was they doing?
Picture, flash.
Hitting them with flashes of light. They had big strobes by his door. And he flash it, and just kept hitting them. You don't know this, but there's something called flicker. Anybody knows what flicker is?
Something like
The website?
Come on with it. What you say?
When the light.
When the light flickers. Do you know your computer flickers? There's a pulse. It goes fast. You don't know it. You don't see it. You only see stuff like that when you record a television. You ever notice when you record a TV, record a computer, all of a sudden you see all this other stuff going on? You're like, bro, I didn't see none of that. It's real. You know, so these are all his different personalities. Dennis was the guy with the glasses that was like snatching up the women. Then you have Patricia. She was like the main goddess deity chick. Like nobody messed with her. You had Hedwig, who was like the little kid. He could take the light whenever he wanted. That's what was deep about him, if y'all didn't notice. He didn't have to wait for nobody. Like, people would fight for the light. Kevin Wendell Crumb was the main character. He was pushed all the way back. He had dissociative identity disorder, where you go through such a traumatic experience to protect your identity, you form other personalities. You got the Hulk and Bruce Banner. You got Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You got Typhoid Mary. you know, off Daredevil and that whole universe, but you got this split personality thing where one person has no idea of another. So if any of y'all know Geminis, any
Yeah.
Geminis in here?
That's right.
Woo!
Right here.
There
That's
we
right.
go. There we go right
That's
there.
right.
The two of them,
You're
they
right.
be doing things they can't even remember they did. Somebody will check them, they be like, bro, I ain't never did that. What you talking about? That was my other. That was my other. You know what I mean? That wasn't even me though. I'm Gemini. But everybody kind of had their own thing, and they all, well, not all of them, because they were even fighting. They were having a civil war amongst themselves because there was a group, the Horde, who specifically wanted to get the Beast to come forward. And the Beast represented what? He represented man. 666 mark of the Beast. And he was so strong because what? The hypothalamus secretes all these hormones. And that could make you super strong. You climbing walls, you picking up cars. Do y'all know how the Incredible Hulk was created? Anybody? Gamma rays? Well, yes. In the fictional universe. But in the actual, in our world, how was it made? I should have been more specific. How did they come up with the idea of the Incredible Hulk? Who I'm about to blow y'all mind? It was a woman.
I was gonna say there's been many stories.
It was a woman. It wasn't even a guy. They saw a woman whose baby was caught under the car. Y'all heard this story. Y'all didn't know the Hulk came out of this though. What happened?
I know. She lifted up that car.
She lifted that damn car up. She was like, "You're making me angry." Flip that damn thing. Probably turned green in the process. But that's how they created the Incredible Hulk. Off of a woman. That's why the one thing that can stop the Hulk in his tracks is a woman. Betty. Betty walk up, or now Black Widow. Son getting real low, start rubbing on his hand, and he's, you know what I'm saying? He's straight. Now he Professor Hulk. So this ain't coming out too good with the lights on, but I'm gonna read some of them to you. This column is a list of all the nuclei in the hypothalamus. This is like 16. It's really like, it's like 20 something, just like all his personalities, but you got like a main 9, you know? Preoptic nucleus, medial preoptic, supraoptic nucleus, paraventricular nucleus, anterior hypothalamic, lateral, dorsomedial, arcuate, on and on and on. But the next column over tells you what each one of those nuclei do, so you can understand how diverse and responsible this particular area of the brain is. So we're talking about thermoregulation. That's why what happens, you start sweating immediately when you turn into the beast. You got vasopressin, which manipulates your blood vessels, dilating or narrowing and getting tighter. Oxytocin. Oxytocin is an orgasm. That's what an orgasm is. Like people who experience orgasm, that feeling that everybody chasing, is secretion of oxytocin. It's the same thing secreted when a baby is breastfeeding on their mother. That's why if you leave a woman in there with a child breastfeeding on her, and you come in there 15 minutes later, they both like that. Gone. Because of that oxytocin, you know? Good vibes, good feeling. We're talking about heart rate, blood pressure, memory, you know, circadian rhythm, night and day, like I was just talking about a moment ago, arousal, wakefulness, and attention. So it deals with controlling all of this stuff. So each one of his personalities represented a certain nuclei that had its own personality, as you see each nuclei has here. All right, here's another picture. So if you're looking at the brain side view, right? The cerebrum is the main brain that you know of, but then you got many brains in your brain, believe it or not. And this is the hypothalamus right here, and the pituitary is right here. All right, this is the thalamus. They look like two eggs sitting right next to each other. And then you got the hypothalamus, because hypo means below, like hypochondriac or hypothermic, hypodermic needle, hypo. And then the infundibulum, which is this like stalk underneath the hypothalamus that connects the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. Now, for those of y'all that study Kemet at all, y'all know that the side view of the brain is actually, you know, what the hawk eye is. Now, if y'all look in the upper right corner, that red dot in the center, that's where the pituitary is. Okay, I'm spinning around up there. There's another picture. But you can almost see the eye, the skull, you know, left and right eye, left and right hemisphere, left eye connected to the right side, right eye is connected to the left side, you know. All right, so the pituitary gland is Mr. Glass. All right, Mr. Glass is a very dynamic character. I'm going to spend most of my time talking about Sam Jack. He's the man. He's been the man for 1,000 years in Hollywood now. I think he got more movies than anybody. He's a beast, man. He ain't everything. So, at the top I put switching one sack for another. What am I talking about? And when I say the word sack, what am I talking about? Huh? When somebody uses the word sack, what are they using?
Something specific.
What do they usually refer to?
Y'all.
There we go, brother. What we talking about?
Testicles.
Testicles. Exactly. What that look like?
Yeah.
Exactly. You didn't know you had balls in your brain, did you?
Stop
You
it.
got balls in your brain.
So now you can tell them they think it was this mind.
Exactly. That's the sapiosexual thing. You just start,
Yeah.
you know, you rub heads together. But nah, you got just like a scrotum, which has two testicles, the pituitary has an anterior and a posterior. Anterior meaning in the front, posterior meaning in the back. So anterior deals with all of these. Thyroid stimulating hormone, all of these, that's a stimulating hormone, and the rest, this is a stimulating hormone too. Luteinizing hormone that deals with the ovaries. So you got all the hormones that deal with reproduction, as well as growth and development. And then you got oxytocin and vasopressin that deals with, like I said, the opening and the closing of vessels. So if I need something to be sent, then I'm going to secrete it. I'm going to open up the vessels so that it can flow and it can get there. All right. Now the reason why I wanted to say switching one sack for another is because he's in a wheelchair. But so was Split, because he's Professor X. But then he's Nick Fury. Wait a minute, I'm getting confused now. How we got this whole superhero Marvel universe just all braided into each other? Professor X chromosome is whose chromosome? Huh? Woman's chromosome. If I get a bunch of X's, then I'm gonna have a dress on. You know what I'm saying? Now, the reason why he's called Professor X and his right hand Boon Kun is a female by the name of Jean Grey, like gray matter. Wait a minute, Jean Grey with the phoenix in her, and I'm sitting in the chair because a man sitting in a chair means what? He is neutralized from the waist down. He's castrated. So whenever you deal with, I'm gonna go forward real quick. You all watch Game of Thrones? What is he?
Eunuch.
He's a eunuch. What does eunuch mean?
I mean, he's been castrated.
Yeah.
Is he thinking about any sexual anything, brother? He focused on the war, on the goal, on success.
Everything's cerebral for him.
Everything is perfect, brother. Thank you. What did Professor X used to put on his head?
Cerebral.
Cerebro. Exactly. So men that are able to, I want to say suppress. Men that are able to properly utilize their sexual energy and not be so in heat on anything running around. Because there's some men like that. I know, I'm a man, I come up with peers. I hear, I see, I know what goes down. Some cats, they'll hit anything moving. It don't matter as long as there's a hole there. And it's not a guy, I'm for it. Then you got some people that's a little bit more picky, you know, in their selection. Then you got some that abstain. That's the word I'm looking for. Abstain, abstinence, celibacy. They hold it down because they want to take that and put it up here. Because this is sexual. All of this down here is just replicating the same stuff you'll find up here. A vagina ain't nothing but a mouth. That's why there's lips. So, to go back, you got Nick Fury who played the Eye of Ra. He was the all-seeing eye. He only had one eye, but everybody knew, do not take that man for granted. He see everything. Matter of fact, he literally had helicarriers that had eyes everywhere. You see what I'm saying? You have your boy Elijah Price in the wheelchair, just like Professor X, a.k.a. James McAvoy, who played Kevin Wendell Crump. And the reason why he was in the wheelchair was to show that he was not utilizing the same energy that the average man uses. He was all cerebral, all mental. And because the pituitary gland represents the milk and the pineal, the honey, that's how he represents the female energy too. Because remember, he had a relationship with his mother. His mother gave him the comic book. You see, he's in a wheelchair. So he had a lot of feminine qualities to him. As opposed to David Dunn, who's just straight lumberjack man. You know what I mean? He could have been Paul Bunyan. They got Bruce Willis to play, right? Alright, so here's a picture of the hypothalamus and the pituitary. The hypothalamus is at top. You see that's where the nuclei at. And it descends down into the pituitary, which affects thyroid gland for the thyroid to release its hormones. Affects the adrenal glands, which sits on top of the kidney, so it can release its hormones, cortisol and adrenaline, norepinephrine. And then the gonads, which would be either the testicles or the ovaries, which release their particular hormones. So that is a hormonal thing. And if you notice, the Beast and Mr. Glass work together. Mr. Glass wasn't a villain. He was an anti-hero. He was like Spawn or the Punisher. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't answering to nobody. Now, would you say that he has superpowers or not? Now, you know the Beast had powers. Did Glass have powers?
Yes.
What was his power?
His mind.
How? How did we know that? What way did he display that?
He was able to think very meticulously. And
Yes.
to remember certain things that other people wasn't able to remember. He was able to use his mind in many different ways, like to foresee certain things, foreshadow certain things, predict certain things, be able to go back to certain things, and to create an illusion, all while doing these things.
So the same way that David Dunn has the ability to oversee or to bump into somebody and clairvoyantly kind of see that somebody was on something, he had the ability to influence you to get you to divulge information. Remember back in Unbreakable, they sitting there at the bar, and this dude was like, yeah, anybody in the first and third floor doing the fire, man, ain't nobody gonna make it out. Who the hell just says that at the bar, bro? You just gonna talk about how somebody gonna die? No. He knows how to manipulate you so you start talking. Remember, David Dunn's wife was his shrink. And she just started telling him all their business. Out of nowhere.
Physical therapist.
Physical therapist. What did I say?
You said shrink.
I said shrink?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
Physical
thing.
therapist.
Same
Physical.
thing.
No. I was saying shrink because I was misled. You're right. She was a physical therapist, not a psychiatrist. And and that makes it even worse. Why would a physical therapist just be telling you all their business like that? Because he knew what to do to make you talk. This is how he was doing all that stuff in the insane asylum. Like getting out the room and all that. Because he would get all of them guards to do it for him because he knew how to manipulate you. But it was suggested. Because my thing is this, if you got a mental power, it's way better to suggest it than to say it, because why are you speaking if it's mental?
Right.
you got to see it happening, you know? Now, do y'all know who the fourth superhero, or rather a person with powers was? Because we had David Dunn, the Overseer, we had Mr. Glass, and we had the Beast. Who's number 4?
Psychiatrist.
If nobody
That's
gets
right.
it, I'm gonna get it. I was saying.
That's right. Don't think for 1 minute that damn shrink ain't no mutant. She the exact opposite of Mr. Glass. She causes you to doubt yourself. You know? We're going to get there though. All right, so y'all remember that scene in Glass where they put him in the little lobotomy joint? The little thing with the laser? But you found out he took the joint out. And that should just kind of give more understanding to the title of the film, and his name being Glass. Because glass is what? So you can see. It's a window. You can see out, you can see in. It's your eyes. I can see things, I can interpret things. But remember I said that we don't see none of this, our brain do, because it's able to put the signals together and put it together in our mind. But what that means is polarization. And I'm going to show you, matter of fact, I think it's in the box. This is something that I've been pushing for a little bit now. And, you know, some other people are going to jump into it soon. Put it on 1 second, y'all. Let me get this out. Yep. All right, so if y'all watching any of my videos, y'all notice I'm wearing glasses all the time, but they're not reading glasses. These are my latest ones I just got. These are my Mach 98s. The other ones are the Mach 65s. Whew. Yeah, that feels better. All right, so these are polarized glasses. They're designed to block out all the blue light toxicity. So when I look at a computer screen or pull my phone out, none of that light get into my eyes. Blocks it all away. And that's what polarization does, because sunlight is unpolarized. And then what happens is you can have certain films, you can have certain mediums that will polarize the light, meaning specific. I guess the best way to say is, let's say I got a dump truck and it's filled with all the fruits of the world, right? And they about to dump it on my property, and I'm like, I just want mangoes. And they like, what? Bruh, no, there's a bunch of fruit in here. Like, you're going to get what we get. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm going to go get my little filter, and you put it on your truck. And when you dump it, it's just going to be all mangoes. And they like, brother, you crazy. Whatever. But that's what polarizing light does. It's like it's filtering out exact frequencies from a montage of frequencies. And that's what that device was that was about to lobotomize him, that had all them different glasses in there. They were polarizing light to get a specific frequency to lobotomize him, to destroy that pituitary, to destroy his brain. Now, when he went down, what did he see? He went back in time to when he was a kid, and he jumped in the little, what's the name? The ride on his own, and he put the stuffed animals around him to protect himself. Now, one of them was a bear and the other one was a lion. Just like the beast. He's using the beast to protect him now. But the beast, he don't know that the beast about to find out that he created the beast by killing his daddy. That was cold. That was cold. How they took it back to the first movie with the train. I bet y'all don't even remember that when they showed that train scene, that woman tried to sit next to him. And when she went to sit next to him, she had a tattoo on her stomach. She reached up and her shirt went up and it showed a tattoo of a rose. But it only showed the stalk. It didn't show the flower. Then you fast forward now to when he was about to die, you got the shamrock joint tattooed where it's the top of the flower but not the bottom. Crazy. So these are pictures that are showing how you polarize things. You got a non-polarized wave. Now if you notice that wave right there, that's the average transverse wave that you see that has a crest and a trough, right? If the electric part of the wave is going just like that one, then what happens is magnetism goes perpendicular to it, going this way, going on the side. 45-degree angle. That's what the whole El, Elohim, El is God, or KT El Bay, all those L's. L deals with perpendicular because that's the relationship of electricity to magnetism to generate light in the first place. That's why L's God. So when you have an unpolarized source, you can use a polarized film, like, you know, Polaroids. That's what they were doing. They were polarizing light. You can filter it and filter out specific frequencies. He removed it from the machine in time, and they didn't know it. So what happened to him is he was able to foresee his death, but I don't know if he interpreted it or not. Him being as mental as he is, I guess so. Now, if you go back to the first movie, Unbreakable, when his mother sent them out to the park to go unopen the gift, he had a picture of this hero fighting the Jaguaro. Okay? Now, he wears green and yellow. The overseer wears green and yellow. He's a beast. He's running just like a damn jaguar. So, he actually created those heroes. He made them because he destroyed that train, which represented like Kundalini or Nadis. It represented a medium of force. He was the only one that survived. Because people that go into meditation and Kundalini and try to get enlightenment, everybody don't survive that journey. Some people give up, some never try, some blow a gasket and end up in a real insane asylum. He was the only one who survived. Pineal gland, yet again. Now this is the one. Big showdown at Osaka Towers. Now what did it say on the magazine in the movie? Osaka Tower, a true marvel, opens December 7th. Now in Marvel Comics, Iron Man got Stark Tower. Look what it says. Stark Tower in Osaka, Japan. Osaka Tower is true Marvel. We all know the MCU is all Iron Man, right? But this is the real one. This is the real. This shit is crazy. So it opens December 7th. This is the day they fighting outside the insane asylum, right? What was December 7th? The attack on Pearl Harbor. Where what? The Imperial Japanese. You talking about the Japanese of Osaka? That was the day Osaka attacked the. Huh? It's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence. You know what I mean? We ain't going to talk about that. The year 1941, which is a 42, represents the actual degree necessary to turn light into a rainbow. You know that's how y'all see rainbows, the raindrops. It's because of 42-degree diffraction that happens with the light in the water. A true marvel. I'm like, y'all need to chill, man. Stop. Chill with all that. Chill with all that. Alright, so we're going to get deeper. We're going to get deeper because I'm crazy. I don't care if y'all take me to Raven Hill or not.
Yeah.
But I knew this when I saw it back in the day. I was like, bro, this means something right here, man. And it took damn near 20 years and not even in the same universe for it to make sense. What is he holding in his hand? Do y'all remember this scene, matter of fact, before I go into it? He was like, man, you better not be masturbating to them.
Jacking off back there.
Yeah, jacking off back there to the joints. I remember when I used to go to comic book stores when I was younger, they would have that section. I'd be so scared to go over there because they had a little wall and everything would be covered with like a cardboard, and you'd be looking over there. You're like, nah, man, I can't go over there, man. But nah, he was over in the corner. He was like, bro, you better not be doing what I think you're doing. And he just catatonic. He just zoned out. So he was like, man, I'm done, man. He come back there and he grabbed his wheelchair and he started pushing him. And every time he pushed him, Samuel L. Jackson would just throw his foot. Knock comics over. He'd be like, bro, what you doing, man? Pick the comics up, grab him back. You start pushing him again. Flack it. knock a bunch of, he's like, man, I'm going to go call the police. Then he grabs a comic and he hold it up and he be like, how much for this one? The comic he holding is called Century Man. You cannot tell me that cat is not Captain America, bro. You can't tell me that ain't Captain America. He holding in his hand right there. Let me blow this up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Come on, man. Red, white, and blue got a star on his chest. Look at his head mask. He's just missing the shield. And what did Nick Fury do in the Marvel Universe? Isn't he responsible for waking Captain America up, bringing him to 42nd Street? When he woke up, talking about he needed to be part of the Avengers. Oh, I'm not done yet, though. I'm not done yet. That's just a piece of it. So, what else was Samuel L. Jackson just saying? He was in Captain Marvel. Hopefully y'all didn't see it. Anybody see that movie? Good. He's acting like, what is that? Good, just stay there with it. Don't even go looking for it. Anybody? Any Captain Marvels in here? Y'all awesome, perfect. Don't change your stance. Stay where you at. Horrible film. But Captain Marvel, Nick Fury was in there, but this was like this was a prequel, so it was set in the 90s. So he was kind of showing how he got started, kind of. And in that movie, it was the whole story of Captain Marvel, of this woman that gets this insanely incredible power and all that type of stuff. But before she has the power, Marvel has the power, which is the name of some alien entity. But the first appearance of Carol Danvers, who's the woman who's to become Captain Marvel, there's a battle going on, and the battle is happening between the Sentry and Marvel, which is the exact comic book he holding up, Sentry Man. I'm like, you end up in a movie about the origin of Captain Marvel, who had to face a villain who was called the Sentry. You was in the comic book store, and you had to pull out Sentry. They never explained why they did this. But they got this Captain America Marvel crossover, and Captain Marvel is supposed to be the new Captain America now in the Marvel Universe. So I found all that quite interesting.
He was also in that movie Spirit. The Spirit? Samuel L. Jackson was in that. He was the villain in the film.
The Spirit, that's not DC, that's like Vertigo?
Something like that.
Yeah, that came out like in the late 90s or something, right? Yeah.
He explains, just like in the movie Glass, what he told his mother, he said this was an origin story. You see what I'm saying? So he tells the guy who's the Spirit, who's like the protector of the city, that we made you.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? He was a scientist. He said, we made you. He gave that Yakubian story.
Yeah, I remember the Spirit.
You see what I'm saying? Saying, look, we made you to do this. You see what I'm saying? He's like, I'm not your enemy. I'm your father.
I'm your creator.
You understand what I'm saying? So
I gave you the Spirit. All right, so her name was Ellie Staples. What is a staple? Well, on its most basic level, when we talk about comic books, it's a neutral body that is responsible for keeping the comic together. And without the staples, it falls all apart. That's exactly what she does. Causes you to fall apart and lose your integrity, just like staples do. Now, the same way everybody else had a color, you got the green, yellow joint with David Dunn, you got the purple with Mr. Glass, right? You got the, what's the name? Oh yeah, he was yellow. The Beast was yellow, but what's the name was green, and he was purple, and she was pink. Once again, color spectrum. Okay? In order to have pink, you got to mix red and white. She represents the cerebellum, because the cerebellum is the part of the brain that they refer to as the fear network. So, when you encounter things in your life that you fear, you're scared of, and insecure about, it gets stored here. Now she stays in an insane asylum, right? Where she got her office with file cabinets, and she got everybody's file. She's able to sit in front of them and go back step by step and tell them, yo, you did this, you did that, you did the third, you crazy. You did this, you did that, you did the third, you crazy too. Because of the fear network that is impressed upon the cerebellum, she being the cerebellum, she could reach up in her bag of tricks whenever she want to show, look, you scared, bro, you scared. You scared, this is your fear right here. She had a superpower. So at the end, I'm like, yo, how 20 years and this is how everybody die? He gets shot in the stomach. He get drowned in a puddle. Oh, and he just get crunched. Like homeboy just bear hugged him and it was a wrap. Because he found out he killed his father. He killed Mr. Glass like nothing. But then we see these cats with the little tattoos on there. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, they're 3-leaf clovers. What's special about a 3-leaf clover, y'all? Absolutely nothing, exactly. What was their main point? They said they don't want people to know heroes exist.
Right.
We want a sense of normalcy to persist. That's why they got the 3-leaf clover as opposed to the 4-leaf clover. Because a 4-leaf clover is a superhero. That's rare. That's seen as what? Good luck, omens. You getting into voodoo and all that type of stuff now. Just talking about it. That's normal. That's what they want. They showing the shadow of that. Maintaining ignorance through normalcy. But that ain't enough. It got to be a little bit more that makes this thing like, why did they do it? Why did they have shamrocks tattooed on their hand? Why was there a secret society of shamrock tattooed people bent on making sure that people don't believe that they got the power within them? The main people who own Marvel and Star Wars and every other goddamn hero got Shamrock Holdings. That's their investment firm. So investors are definitely gonna care. Once again, I ain't made this up. Y'all Google it right now. Shamrock Holdings is the firm founded as the Roy E. Disney family. And do you know how much? First of all, Avengers Endgame made $1.2 billion in a weekend, and that's just one of their franchises. How much money does Disney have, bro? They got at least 33% of my brain on lock, bro. Aladdin, Lion King, freaking, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Toy Story, we go back. Man, who been to Disneyland? Who been to Disney World? Who loves Star Wars? They own all that, you know? So that's what them Shamrocks is for. All right, so we got to get deeper. Because, see, the reason why I got the swag I do when it comes to breaking down movies, because I ask questions most people don't. And I think about things people don't. It's all taking place at a psychiatric hospital. Everybody want to know more about the character. What about the facility that's holding them? Now, Allentown is the name of the building that they actually shot at. But what did they call it in the movie? They called it Raven Hill. Raven Hill, which is an actual mansion that exists in Philadelphia. Let's see what this damn mansion has to tell us about. Huh? Why I got his face all in front of the joint right there. Hold on. That's him. We don't need to see him. I'm about to erase him.
Yes, we do.
Do we?
I mean, we don't have to see him anymore, but...
Y'all see him, right?
Yes.
Okay, now he's gone. He's done. All right, so his name is, I don't even got his full name up there, but his last name is Waitman. Waitman. I don't even have his first name on here. No. All right. So Waitman died at the age of 90 years on August 25th, 1904 at his what mansion? Raven Hill Mansion in where? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the movie was shot and filmed. By the way, M. Night Shyamalan only films in Philly. Every movie he's ever done has been in Philadelphia. He doesn't leave outside of a radius for some reason. Oh yeah, every film is Philly. Every one.
Wow.
Waitman was born September 30th, 1813 in Waltham, Lincolnshire, England. He immigrated to the United States, age 16, invited by his uncle, chemist John Farr. Farr founded the firm Farr and Coonsey, the first manufacturers of sulfate. Didn't I just talk about that with vitamin D? What the hell going on? Of quinine in the United States. Upon Coonsey's retirement in 1836, Farr partnered with Thomas Powers, 27-year-old Waitman, to establish Farr, Powers, and Waitman. Wait a minute. That can't be their names. Farr, Powers, and Waitman? Farr, Powers, and Waitman. Manufacturing chemist in 1841. Waitman married Louisa Stillwagon. Stillwagon, though? We know what your family was doing. Together they had 3 children, John, William, Jr., and Ann. Okay, so well, that's a lot of talk, but we got to look at this sulfate quinine thing. What the hell they talk about? Well, they were isolating quinine from a plant called chicona, which is an herb that heals fever and malaria. So tell me why M. Night Shyamalan, the place where the 3 superheroes are being interrogated about what power they inherently have, there's a history of herbalism. The bark of trees in this genus is the source of a variety of alkaloids, the most familiar of which is quinine, an antipyretic, anti-fever agent, especially used in treating of malaria. While the extraction of a mixture of alkaloids from the chicona bark, known in India as a chicona febrifuge. A febrifuge means a plant for the fever. That febra prefix is dealing with fever. While antipyretic also means anti-fever, but pyretic just means hot. You know, your heat. The alkaloid mixture or sulfated form mixed in alcohol and sold as quinitum was, however, very bitter and caused nausea amongst some other side effects. But that's somebody holding the bark, and that's the plant right there. Now, when I talk about alkaloids, plants have secondary metabolites that we utilize to make ourselves better. So when somebody say, hey man, what herb do you think I could take to get rid of this, KT? It's not the herb, it's the secondary plant metabolites in the herb that you extract, that you assimilate, and helps your body. Okay? Now, one of those plant metabolites are classified, all right, as a group of molecules called alkaloids. Alkaloids is where cocaine is found. That's an alkaloid. Dimethyltryptamine, that's an alkaloid. Augmentheogens is alkaloids. They're very potent. They're very powerful. What makes an alkaloid specific is the fact that it's made up of something called an aromatic ring, which is 6 carbon atoms in a ring formation, which is very dynamic because an aromatic ring of carbon has the ability to create something called aromatic ring current. Now, imagine a hexagon, right? 6-sided. Each point represents a carbon. Now, if you're looking at a hexagon from a chemical standpoint, you're looking at it bird's eye view. That's what that shape looks like. But if you're trying to look at it, it's going to look like a table, flat, facing you. That's what this hexagon is. Now, what ends up happening is the electrons in this formation ends up creating a current of electricity on the top of the plane of the molecule and on the bottom of the plane of the molecule. And anytime you have current, you got magnetism. So then magnetism is generated. So each one of these alkaloids become its own magnetic field in your body, its own power, its own arc reactor. That's an arc reactor. That's an ever-living spinning force of energy with a magnetic field around it. And that's just one six-sided carbon. An alkaloid might have 3 attached, and then it'll combine and be one giant joint. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is, M. Night Shyamalan has been telling us for 20 years that we have abilities beyond our belief that's in us. We see certain, little glimpses of it on the news or articles or even in real time when we're out and about. But because of how busy our lives are and the world is, we kind of brush by it and then we forget about it, we store it away. But we have the ability to be great. Because if I can take one 6-sided molecule out of a body that is composed of trillions and quintillions of cells, then that means that if you're made up of all those atoms, and you have the ability to generate force beyond your belief. It's just that we keep hitting the ceiling because we don't know we got it inside of us, So yeah, man, Raven Hill Mansion was a spot where this Waitman cat, Far Power Waitman, they were herbalists. They was extracting plant energy and selling it to the masses to heal people from fever, flu, and problems. Because David Dunn, remember, he was security. That's immune system. That's protecting yourself, from getting taken out the game. So, so in herbalism, Chacona bark was used as an adulterant in Jesuit's bark or Peruvian bark, which originally is thought to have referred to myroloxin paraferrin, another fever remedy. So everybody was using this for fever, bruh. So temperature going up and that's deep because if the beast represents the hypothalamus is the thermostat. That gland is what can decrease your temperature. You see? So if the beast is the main villain, if that's who David Dunn is fighting, and we here talking about an antipyretic that is specifically designed to deal with the hypothalamus. Come on, man. But yeah, that's just some extra info on here. Yeah, I believe that's it on. Yeah, that's it right there. That's the presentation on the glass. Do I have any questions?
Yes, I got a question.
Oh yes.
What part of it, because when you, that far Powers Waitman, and then they killed the dude who was talking about, hey, you can do this, take this plant, you gotta eat them greens. The guy that was the why did that have anything to do with why they killed him? Why would they kill him?
Why did Darrow get killed?
Right, why did he get killed?
We're
talking about the history of this place and
because
herbalists.
Because the whole premise of this film, you had 2 factions going on. You had one faction that was trying to fool you into believing you don't have the power. Part of that power is healing. Mm-hmm. Remember, Wolverine, he got a healing power. Right. No matter what happens to him, he heals back. So being able to heal yourself is an inherent power that we have. And being able to make you feel like you have to depend upon Big Pharma or other things to make you manage a disorder rather than overcome a disorder, that's a great power. Mm-hmm. So the minute that he was talking all that vitamin D shit, yeah, they cut his throat in the movie. Right. Immediately, even though it was Glass who did it, he still got dealt with. Because even though he was preaching all that information with health, look at what he was keeping up. Because he was a guard in that insane asylum. He was no better than Staples. So, he got his karmic thing. How you gonna be talking about vitamin D and then you on this jump, bro?
That's why you had to go. That's why you had to go.
I want to ask you one quick. Go ahead, Sally.
Okay, well, I noticed you were showing the thyroids and everything, which a lot of women have, and I've been diagnosed with it as well. So, what type of food can one take to try to
assist with the thyroid gland? Yeah, thyroid gland has everything to do with iodine. everything to do with iodine and an amino acid called tyrosine. Tyrosine is responsible for producing melanin. It combines with copper and it becomes an enzyme called tyrosinase, and tyrosinase produces melanin. Iodine is added to tyrosine, and that becomes T3 and T4, which are your two thyroid hormones. You got three, you got calcitonin too, and that deals with your calcium levels in your blood. But with your metabolism, it's T3 and T4. T4 is thyroxine, T3 is called triiodothyronine. Thyronine is like the molecule, iodo means iodine is in it, iodine's in it, and then tri means three. What's three? Three what? 3 iodine atoms. T4 got 4 iodine atoms. T3 is more powerful because it's a concentrated T4. Just like if you had to make gravy, starts out watery, but you reduce it so it gets thick. And that's what T4 does in order to become T3. It's like it's a reduction down so it can become more potent. So you want to increase thyroid receptors that would accept more thyroid hormone. So it could be a lack of iodine, a lack of vitamin D, because usually where you find concentrations of thyroid hormone receptors, you find concentrations of vitamin D receptors too. So blocking your neck, your throat in front of screens, because blue light can penetrate the skin and hit whatever's right under the surface. Your thyroid sits right on your throat, right under the skin. So it can penetrate and hit the thyroid. And it'll hurt its production. It'll manipulate its production. Remember I said color is a visual expression of a frequency we can see. So blue light is not just a color, it's a frequency, and that frequency is not good for the thyroid gland. So wearing like a turtleneck in front of the screen or something, you know, or there's a program called Iris. It's like your eye, and this computer program removes all the blue light from your screen. So when you use your computer, it's going to be like red or orange or something because all the blue's gone. You know, so I would suggest more iodine. So then the next question is, what? I'm supposed to eat more salt? Like, what do you mean? No, sea vegetable, sea vegetable, sea vegetable. Specifically brown seaweed, because brown seaweeds usually have the most iodine. Kelp got a lot of iodine. Aramay got a lot of iodine. My C3 got a lot of iodine. Bladderwrack got a lot of iodine. So you want to get all these sea vegetables, Whole Foods, Natural Grocers, H-Mart, all these different stores, they all have seaweed sections, and they sell them. Get a bunch of them, start making soup, start putting them in your teas. You know, you can take like dulse, and dulse as well as purple lavender, they can be like, they already seasoned because they come out the ocean, so they got salt on them already. So you don't gotta like salt them. But if you wanted to throw like other seasonings you like on them and put them in the oven and become crispy, they're like potato chips, you can eat it like that, you know, and that'll get the iodine in. That way you can give your thyroid the necessary element it needs. Because if it doesn't have enough, then it can't do nothing. Iodine is a very, very powerful element. Yeah, so iodine. Iodine. And another thing for the woman when it comes to fibroids, women who have fibroids are lacking vitamin D. There's a poor ratio between progesterone and estrogen inside the woman, because estrogen is like a super growth factor. And if progesterone ain't there to kind of like, it's like reins on a horse. Like say you got a horse that bucks, all that you want reins to hold it and tell it which way to go. Otherwise, it might knock you off and you break your back. You know, so you want to put reins on the estrogen with progesterone, and then you want to get out in the sun so you get your vitamin D up. There's an app called D-Minder, the letter D, and then M-I-N-D-E-R, and this app on your phone, you can drop your geographical location, and it'll tell you, no matter where you are on the planet, when the vitamin D hours during the day is. And for Texas, it's between 9:15 and 5:15 right now. So we got like a whole 8 hours window. And then solar noon is in the middle. So solar noon would be somewhere around probably 12:30, maybe 12:30. And right around that time is when you get the most intense vitamin D energy. So any woman who got fibroids, if y'all get outside and show more of that skin during those times of day in the summer, you'll get way more vitamin D receptor expression. Progesterone and estrogen balances will balance back out, and then you'll notice the fibroids will start to shrink. Vitamin D, that's all it is. Vitamin D is everything. We don't get a lot because a lot of us are outside of ourselves. There was a great migration that occurred in the early 1900s where everybody moved from the south up to Chicago, Ohio, New York, Illinois. That's why everybody up there from down here. That's why they always come down to visit. They got grandparents from here. Because the South wasn't trying to hear emancipation and slavery. They weren't trying to hear it. They was like, okay, y'all free, but we still about to ride on y'all cats. We still about to put y'all head on spikes. They were Game Throning cats. So when Ford and the cat who had the newspaper in Chicago was like, yo, we got work. And y'all ain't about to be like, ain't nobody about to be racist. Y'all can have a house. Y'all can own your own business. Folks was like, man, I'm out of here. And it was a big migration of people that left the South and went up north. But because they went up north, they're now in a 40, 50, 60 degree latitude. That latitude is not conducive to your genetics. See, Texas is special. I don't know. I'm not a flat earther, but I know something about this globe shit ain't right. Because Texas got some stuff growing here that don't grow on the same latitude in Georgia and the same latitude in Alabama. I know because I'm from the Caribbean, I see some of my herbs growing here, and I'm like, what the hell? You can only grow here if there's a certain light cycle that occurs. You know, and then I'm looking at the D-Minder app at the UV index be like 11 and 12, and then it's long, like 9 hours. I'm like, bro. We somewhere they ain't telling us. You know, Texas is different. It's different here.
What's the name of the app?
D-Minder, like reminder, but with a D.
D-Minder.
Download that ASAP, and you can get all your vitamin D info you need. It even has it where you can like customize it to you. You can put like if you're, let's say you're eating a diet where you get a certain amount of vitamin D in, you can put that amount into, and they'll calculate, tell you how much you want to get like 600 IUs a day. IU stands for international units. You want to get about 600 in a day. And 600 right now in Texas, it's like an hour. Maybe an hour and a half. You'll get that. But you got to be outside. Like short sleeves, less clothes the better. If you got a backyard with a fence, bucket naked. Bucket naked. Take your clothes off. I'm on a huge movement to get women to take their clothes off. They're gonna be like, KT, what? Butt naked. Take clothes off. Take off the bra. Take off the panties now. Nah, for real, because we have to showcase. Women need to put their behind, vagina, and breasts in the sun. Have to. All the problems come. You look on the walls in all the antiquity. Them women, I ain't seen no woman with no hair. Have you seen a woman with pants on? Oh, anywhere in the past, bro?
Right.
Never. They got dresses on. You know why? Because more than likely they had no panties on. And they was letting that thing breathe. Right?
Yes. Okay.
What was you about to say? I'm sorry.
I
threw you off there. I'm
No,
sorry.
because when you said that, I was like, okay, well, because when I put my clothes on today, I said, you know what, I'm going to go out the house with no bra on.
Yes.
Girl.
Yes.
Oh,
Y'all see the women in South Africa?
For real, they wear no bra.
I'm tired of wearing
And
no
look
bra.
at the breasts.
And they nipples be looking dead at you. I'm like, why mine don't look like that? And it's because you got them underwires on. Mess your junk up.
You got women all in California trying to get their breasts to look like the women in South Africa.
Right.
But the women in South Africa, they don't got no plastic surgeon down there they going to. They smiling, they just dancing all day with beads on.
Yeah.
That's all women want to do is just dance and listen to music, right? Y'all need to do that. Y'all gotta have y'all music dance time and y'all naked time. You know, just find a remote area. If you got your own property, use it. Get that sunlight in. Get it in, get it in, get it in. Any more questions? If I had time, man, I would have went into a lot more stuff, because this presentation is combined with my what's the name presentation too.
I got a question for you.
Go for it.
It's about the second movie, Split, a scene that I seen in it towards the very end. So the girl, I can't remember her name, but the girl at the very end, she shoots the beast twice.
Mm-hmm.
First time it affected him, second time he went down, but when he got up, it seemed as though he got stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the conversation that was amongst the other personalities, it was about the belief.
Mm-hmm.
So just
What happened? You want to know what happened and all of that?
Yeah.
What was going on?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the girl, Casey, whatever her name was. Everybody had double names, like CC, like he was Kevin Crumb, David Dunn, you know what I'm saying? All the double names, Richard Ryder, Nova. But with that, the girl, she was seen as pure by the beast, as was told before. That's why she was let go. And she had the ability through touch to be able to bring Kevin Crumb to the light, because the whole horde would use all their energy to keep him from the light. She had an ability to bring him to the light. And in bringing him to the light, he didn't have the same invulnerabilities that the beast can afford to the body, so that left him vulnerable so he could get killed. And that whole thing, it was a tug of war of all the personalities, with Kevin trying to be in the front. And Hedwig was like kind of facilitating it and helping it out too, because he was kind of like, he had like a split on his own between who he wanted to believe in. Yeah. Yep. That's how they got him. Because if she never like got in touch with Kevin Crumb, them bullets wouldn't have penetrated his skin. He wouldn't have went down at all. He would have been straight. But it was because Kevin came forward, his guard was down, he became vulnerable, it was able to pierce his skin. Yeah. That's that. Anybody else? Any questions? Health questions? Movie questions? Anything? Because Laquente, I know she ready to go.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, she ready to go.
What events you got coming up? You got some stuff coming up, don't you?
My next thing is the retreat. I wouldn't even say annual, because it's biannual, really. We do it twice a year at this point. So that's coming up. So I'll be going for that, for those 2 weeks. I think my next stop might be up in New York and Detroit. I'll be doing some events up there. And I know I'm going to do another cooking event here too, another Delicious. Has any of y'all come to the Delicious joints? Yeah, I started, me and my wife started Delicious about 3-4 months ago. We brought together Vegan Vonnie and Bam Vegan along with us to kind of start a vegan market of real good vegan food. We've done 2 so far, so we're about to do the 3rd one. And it's been spectacular. Like, when we was in here, it was no room. It was no room. It was sardine can, like all day. They was all over there, here, packed here, but she navigated them lines effortlessly. It was 3 lines, and it was like, it was dope. If we saw it from on top, it would have been like a design. But we had one group going over here, one group going over there, one group going over there, and a whole lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
When y'all having another one?
Yeah, we're gonna have another one. I don't know what the exact date's gonna be, but Equate will know.
Oh.
She'll definitely know. She'll have the flyer, and it'll be on my Facebook and my Instagram as well. Yeah.
What's that information? Your Facebook and your Instagram?
Facebook. I'm not really. Why did I say Facebook? I meant to say
Right.
IG. I don't even do Facebook like that right now. That's why I'm like, everybody making a big deal off Farrakhan. I'm like, ain't nobody on Facebook, Farrakhan. Now, if YouTube tell you can't put no video,
It's some beef.
but I'm KT the Arts Degree on YouTube as well as Instagram. And then I have a Patreon too, which is where a lot of my real in-depth videos go.
And the rest of his presentation is going to be
All
up
these
there.
presentations and
Right.
stuff they're usually on my Patreon account. So yeah, that's it. Let's see, am I missing?
Your website?
Website. There we go. See, I think about money last. I'm always gotta get the info out. kttheartsdegree.net. That's where you'll find all my products like you see on that table. I got more stuff than that. And you can also send us like emails and inquiries and questions. I got my consultation thing up there to schedule. So yeah, kttheartsdegree.net, kttheartsdegree Instagram, and kttheartsdegree on YouTube. That's it. Yeah. Well, Saturday, it's still young, so I don't want to keep y'all away from all of y'all festivities. I know y'all got some things to get into, but I appreciate y'all attention, y'all time. I hope I was able to give y'all a little something for that glass. I don't know. That was a little something y'all can rock with next time y'all go back. Look at that thing and turn the light. We got ridiculous power inside of us. We just be, I'm telling you, we like lazy Superman. We like lazy, like Hancock. Remember how he used to sleep on the bench? And they was like, dude, you like a bum. Get up, do something with yourself. That's kind of what it is, right?
I'm sorry. What is the C3? What is that?
C3 is a concentrate of sea moss. It's Chondrus crispus along with like 4 other seaweeds. So it's a super nutritionally dense mineral mixture. It's amazing. Flagship product, that's what everybody gets. And to make a long story short, it's 64 cups of tea in that 16-ounce bottle. So you just gotta put a tablespoon and 2 cups of water, and you got 2 cups of tea every day for the whole month. Yeah, and the demulcent, it settles the stomach, gets your mucous membrane right, helps with your lungs. Like when my mother assisted in the curing of that AIDS patient, that's one of the things that they were giving them was sea moss, as well as some of the other products. You know, old Frank White with his pneumocystic situation going on. He had that he said it was pneumonia, but it really was AIDS. But there's really no AIDS, so it still was pneumonia. You know, there ain't no AIDS. Don't believe hype. There ain't no AIDS because AIDS is just a breakdown of an immune system. It's not nothing you catching from somebody sneezing on you.
Before we go, I just want to remind everybody that we will be tomorrow, 3 to 5.
Oh man,
Doc
I
Bookshop.
didn't even mention
We
that.
will be there.
Okay, what's the name of the bookshop?
The Doc Bookshop.
In Fort Worth.
In Fort Worth.
Yes, we will be there from 3 to 5. Myself and Ty RPG.
I ain't been there in a
We'll
long
be
time.
having an expanded conversation on today. So if you paid today, it's good for tomorrow. Just come through. Bring your folk through. Bring some more Africans through. Don't bring no Americans over there. Bring some Africans through.
Talk about no tethers, because the tethers said they Americans.
Right. No tethers.
Not to the second location, but I'm gonna get it from.
Tahir, before we wrap, can you let everybody know what you got going on? How to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I
Boom.
should brush you up so you can make the announcements, right?
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, we got Akumalu, something that we got coming up May 17th through the 19th. Akumalu Fest in Gainesville, Florida. One of the biggest ancestral veneration festivals in the United States. We put it on.
When is that, May? When?
That's May 17th through the 19th. It's a 3-day weekend. Big 5-acre spread outdoors under the stars. We camp out. We this year every year we sacrifice a bull, 1,500-pound bull, to our ancestors for the for the purpose of African liberation. So, you know, you get to see, you know, that's a good introduction to how we work with ancestor power, you know. So all types of beautiful things happen out of there, you know. I seen a brother that was going to jail, 25 to life. There that weekend, Monday, I mean, and his family came out to pretty much say bye-bye to him. Like, he was a wrap. And he got with, you know, there's plenty priests out there. His aunt is like, hey, what can we do with this thing for my boy? So they did what they did. I don't know what they did. So much going on. But long story short, he went to court on that Monday or Tuesday, and off of a technicality, through his entire. This man was gone up the road for 25 years now. When you get 25 to life, usually they done built that up. That don't just happen. Threw it out. This man right now is chilling. He got video. He rapping. He back on his rap stuff. So this is the type of thing that happens there. So that's 17th to the 19th. You know, we'll be doing the bull, a Oya Bembe. That's a party for the natural force Oya. We're doing that at night, and it's a juju auction too. So, you know, different stuff, you know, visibility juju, all types of juju, you know, that priest that we make, we auction it out, auction it off. So it's gonna be a good thing. Yeah.
And that's gonna be in Gainesville?
Gainesville. Friday through Sunday. Yeah. Malcolm birthday on the 19th. We're doing something special for on the 19th as far as ancestral veneration. So that's gonna be pretty fresh. That's what's happening. Yes, sir.
Morning and night.